like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. So we're up to episode 10 of House of the Dragon. I dropped my review very late last week, right? Very, very late last week. It got mixed up in the Doctor Who season finale. Terribly sorry. What can you do? So we're still playing catch up. I think this review is probably going to go out on Sunday. Is my guess. Recording on Friday, the 28th. Well done, House of the Dragon. Really, really, really turned me around. I'm very, very impressed. I'm amazed. Actually, I'm amazed they managed to turn me around. They took me from a place of complete disinterest and actually wanting it to fail to really liking this. Like, really, it's not one of the greatest shows of all time. It's one of the greatest shows on TV right now, right? And I'm very glad it survived the David Zaslav purge, and that David Zaslav purge of Warner and Discovery Warner. Just seems like a good thing. Although I still want Westworld season 5 and Raised by Wolves season 3. You know, other than that, I'm very happy. I'm very happy with James Gunn being made in charge of was it DC Studios? What are they doing? I think with Harry Potter, they have all this IP, but their IP that they built their streaming service on was Game of Thrones, and they built the streaming service on the Game of Thrones before they destroyed it. Right? They completely destroyed it. So I actually think we're in the zeitgeist of a cultural shift, like a major cultural shift. The sands are shifting. I've been saying this on all my videos because I see things changing, right? For the last 5 years, maybe longer, story hasn't been that important. It's been much more platforming, like trying to platform some form of ideology into whatever's already existing. I spoke to somebody who made one of these, like, very, very obviously platform things, and it was this thing talking about Brexit, and I said, do you think we don't know what you think about Brexit? Like, I want to say, all these people in Hollywood, do you think we don't know what you think? You scream it at the top of your voice at every opportunity you have, and you just make garbage TV out of it. So in that television landscape, this show is awesome beyond awesome, and it even won me over after annoying me in the first episode. The first episode, they had a very, I think, pretty much on-your-nose commentary about Roe v. Wade, about a very, very pro-choice message. And now in the final episode, I talk about this, they juxtapose that with another birthing scene with it seems to me from the opposite point of view. I might be reading into it, right? But I like this show, right? I like the characters, I like the story, I think it's tragic, I think it's realistic. I just wish they all listened to King Viserys, right? I love Paddy Considine. I miss him hugely. I guess that's why they made you made such a great actor into this pivotal role, because so you miss him, right? You miss his influence, and it's sad. It's sad how basically everybody you've seen, is going to die horribly, right? But there is a major death in this week's episode, which I spoiled pretty much at the beginning when you see who it is, and you go, oh, this means this person's going to die horribly at some point. And yes, they do. But boy, do they spend a lot of money on those dragon effects. They are fan-freaking-tastic. There's a great scene in this with Matt Smith, and most scenes in it with Matt Smith are fantastic, where he's just like singing to his dragon. I love it. Freaking love this show, right? Absolutely can't wait for the next season. And I'm excited to see where it goes. I said this many, many times over. Could you imagine a world where these people making the show were given control of Game of Thrones in season 5, right? That's really basically where I am right now. This is redeemed Game of Thrones. I mean, I can't watch anything beyond season 5. Season 6 and 7 were garbage beyond garbage. But right up until you have Daenerys on the Narrow Sea flying across, flying across the ocean before it all went south, right? It all went south in more ways than one. That's basically the cutoff for it. It's a great adaptation. This is a great adaptation. I very much enjoy it, and I hope you do too. So this is the final one of my recaps and reviews. As I said, if you missed my episode 9 one, I probably went out like a day or so earlier. So I'm trying to juxtapose the two. But yeah, listen, HBO Max knocked it out the park. You have knocked it out the park. You turned me from disinterest and anger to being a fan of the show, right? Legitimately a fan of the show. I honestly, taking something from the point of not wanting to like it to liking it is so much more impressive than taking somebody from the point of being neutral to loving it, right? It's really, really very impressive. So well done. I have no idea who made this, right? I have no idea who made this. Well done, all involved, right? I wonder how many seasons it's going to go for, right? You got, look, the Dance of Dragons, which is what it's based on. It lasted, what, a year, 2 years? Is this a 2-season up? But they can just go on and on with stuff like this, right? They've really, really revived the brand, revived it to the point where I'm interested in watching it, and I don't think it's ever going to get back to the heights of what it was when we were all crazy about Game of Thrones, right? We were all like, well, those watch parties with the Battle of Winterfell, right? And we didn't realize how bad it was. I don't think we're seeing that again, but we are going to see good TV, right? We're seeing good TV, which I'm really happy about. And again, this is part of I think a general shift in entertainment. I'm seeing James Gunn was put in charge of DC Studios, Rusty Davis in charge of HBO Max, even in charge of Doctor Who, even Star Trek has been good. Yeah, next season Picard looks like it's going to be quite good. Strange New Worlds was good. I think Twitter's been bought by Elon Musk. These midterms look like they're going to be a 180 turn. I think the tides are turning, and I hope so. I hope it works out better for us than it did for the denizens of Dragonstone or King's Landing. Yeah, and again, the tragedy of this show is no one's coming out this well, right? No one's going to go, oh, that was a good idea, this Civil War. No one's coming out this well. But again, tragedy and dragons, good character, make for great TV. So let me hand over to me. Please like, share, subscribe before you do that. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. Sign up my Substack, my email newsletter. Goes out every day, but content every day. Sign up my paid version of it. It's $5 a month. You get this graphic novel this month. Next month, I'm writing a book, Ecky Thump, the guide to the Jodie Whittaker era of Doctor Who. So like, share, subscribe, comment, Substack. All those things are good. Let me hand over to me on my live stream last night when I went over the final episode of this really, really great series. Dun 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 dun. Game of Thrones. This was pretty good. So this was very good, in fact, right? In fact, my big complaint about this season was balanced out with this episode, right? They really kind of solved it with this episode. Just don't like the titles, okay? Titles just don't work. House of the Dragon, bum bum bada dum bum bada dum bum. I like the dragons. Anyway, so we don't know we're on war footing yet, right? Right now, over at Dragonstone, they're just chilling out, right? And you got this is the Princess Rhaenyra's son learning stuff about the realm. Right, and they don't know that Princess Rhaenyra's father, the King Viserys, is dead, brown bread, fell apart, and instead they crowned not Princess Rhaenyra, who was selected to be the king, the successor, but rather the king's son, who was played by David Tennant's son a couple of weeks ago, but apparently it wasn't a biological son, even though he looked just like David Tennant. It was really weird. So they don't know all the whole shit has hit the fan. There's been a coup gone down. They hung people. I kind of like that, right? I kind of like that. And we got so he just and we had a great scene at the end where the a third party, the Valerians, Mrs. Valerian, whatever her name was, escaped from Dragonback and could have ended everything by barbecuing the insurrectionists, but no. So they don't know any of that shit went down. They're chilling, and it's got a really touching scene. This is her younger son by Sir Strong, who was killed, but it was apparently they're bastards, but no one's allowed to say it, even though they obviously are. And I saw this scene, and I said, okay, this isn't good for this kid, right? They had a little touching emotional bond. I said, oh, you're so perfect. Oh, you're a sweet boy, right? Then in comes the head of the Queen's Guard or whatever he is, and said, "What's the name? Just arrived from Dragonback and wants to see you immediately." So, okay, what's going on? So she goes in. She's pregnant, by the way, by Matt Smith, her uncle. Well, everything's normal, nothing's weird. With their second kid. And she says, "Your father's dead, right? Come to tell you your father's died." And shit's gone down. Shit's gone down. They've they crowned with an egg on the second, and they've hung people. I just escaped from Dragonback, and they tell her she starts having the baby. She's so freaked out. And I I'm not calling sires and just wait for my husband to see if he wakes up from his illness. So, but Matt Smith's like, fuck, we are going to motherfucking war, right? And he's looking, and then she starts having a baby, right? And it's like, the Mason's like, this is not good. She's 6 months in. Okay. So here we have a scene which I think completely juxtaposed the scene in the first episode, very, very, very cleverly. Right, the first episode, we have the Viserys' wife is having a baby, and it's not going well. Right, it's not going well, and they do against her will. They do a C-section on her, which they know is going to go to try and save the baby. They both die. Right, they both die. It was an analogy for abortion, right? Like for not allowing abortion up until birth. Apparently, that means you hate women and you want to control them, right? So I was really kind of annoyed with that. So here we have another scene, another very bloody birth scene, right? Where but my basic problem with the abortion argument is this: it's not is the baby that you're terminating a life or not, right? That's not the question. It's if that life matters. Does that life matter? Now, the people I think in more liberal places like New York or LA, they say no, that life absolutely doesn't matter, right? Let's say a young lady's got pregnant and she's got to change her plan for her life. She was going to college, now she can't do that. And this is I'm being very, very charitable with this. But in this case, let's say that's the case. And she says, listen, I could, upend my life completely, or I could do this procedure, which probably kills somebody, right? And that somebody is defenseless, right? Now, nobody argues that's what's going on, right? The question is, does it matter? Does it matter if this life that's not connected to anyone has any sanctity? Right, so the answer in episode 1 what they gave was yes, and was no. It doesn't have any sanctity. Life does not have sanctity at all. That because they went with the very pro-choice argument. This one they go with the pro-life argument, and it very profoundly says life does have sanctity. Right. Meanwhile, we get to it. Don't worry. War Council's going down and blah blah blah. Meanwhile, the boys are training, and says, "Look, your mother wants to see you." They go see her. She is not doing well, right? And he says, "Listen, you got to go to Matt Smith. You got to go to your uncle, whatever he's called, your father, uncle, and tell him he's not allowed to do anything without me allowing it, because she doesn't want rash heads to go to war, right?" So that's essentially what they do. These planning, and these guys, look, the Queen says no. We have to wait. So this is a great scene. Oh, another great scene, right? So these are the King's Guard. They should be loyal to King's Landing. Matt Smith comes to talk to them. And he says, we want to know, whose side you're on. His dragon shows up, says, listen. And again, the dragon effect's awesome, right? So listen. Either you side with us and then you're good, or if you want to side with the king, tell us now. We'll give you a clean death, and it'll be over quickly. But if you side with us and you betray us, then we're going to have problems, right? Meanwhile, okay, so there's the big birthing scene happens, right? And she won't let anybody help her, and it's very graphic, right? It's very, very graphic. She stillborn deliver this baby herself, right? So again, the whole point of the scene is how life does have sanctity, right? And it should always be treated that way. So then we have the funeral. This again leads into this very emotional funeral scene, right? For the baby, where they all go to they all go there, and then while we're there, Sir Arik shows up, right? Who escaped from King's Landing with I guess he must have gone with what's the name? He didn't say how did he get there. That makes no sense. How did he get there? He must have found his own way. He must have found another dragon to take him or something. But he's brought the crown with him. That's a real plot hole. Maybe she picked him up and carried him, right? So he's brought the king's crown, and Matt Smith sees this again, takes the opportunity, and at the funeral he crowns her. And this is where she becomes like, queen, whatever, first of a name, right? Everybody knows. Apart from Valerian, what's her name? Because she hasn't decided which way she's going yet, right? She just thought, as a courtesy, she should come. So then, great war council thing. They have this cool table which they light from underneath, which you can see everything on, right? Essentially. And so they're deciding what to do. By the way, Matt Smith's daughters with what's name Valerian, super duper hot, right? You see them kind of like they are just like, oh, who's that? Can I see more of this person? I don't know. Are they supposed to be young? And now I feel kind of pervy, but they're insanely hot. Anyway, so they're making plans about who will side with them, who won't side with them, what to do. And she said, "Listen, I'm still I'm waiting to see what my husband says if he wakes up. We haven't called either way." Again, the black daughters with the white hair—they're just super hot. Okay, I'm kind of just mesmerized by them, right? And like Basmus, like we they probably killed Viserys. We just got to go to war, right? So then they get a word that what's the name? Rhys Evans has turned up, the Hand of the King, Otto Hightower, right? And you see the brilliant politician that he is. Listen, I'm here to talk to Rhaenyra. So they're quite clever. She flies over in a dragon life because that whole war council meeting was basically establishing. Wait a minute, we have dragons, right? They have 3 dragons. We have like up to 14, right? And that's basically what will win this war, right? So that's why she flies in on her dragon, right? So she goes and says, he says, listen, basically like this, you're the king will give you Dragonstone. You have rule over that. Your sons will have a place in court. We'll give you basically we'll pay you off, right? Because he's a brilliant politician. We will pay you off. And we don't need to go to war, right? We do not need to go to war. And nobody wants to go to war. Matt Smith doesn't really hear it, right? So she takes the Hand of the King sign off. Says, "You're not Hand of the King, right? You betrayed that." And again, I think he's basically after power, Otto Hightower, right? I think he's after power because he thinks he knows how to use it the best. So he gives a message that, listen, we were friends. This was from a book when they were kids, I think, right? So we were always friends. We can still be friends. There's no need for us to kill each other. And it's a tempting offer, right? Like if they back down, they could. It's like they would avoid war. Essentially, they would avoid war. And she's not stupid enough to turn her nose up at it. Matt Smith is ready to kill them, right? And basically she stops it, right? He says, stand down. And he says, I'll give you my answer in the morning, right? And so she's going over the options. Okay, the Starks, they won't break the rose. And she sends everybody out and says, like, we really need to consider this offer because the whole prophecy, the Prince's promise, all that stuff, there needs to be a Targaryen on the throne. That's the only thing that matters. Is there a male contender for the throne? Yes. Basically, what happened was this, right? you had the king, right? The king was married. He had a daughter, and then the queen died in childbirth with the next baby, right? And so he, in kind of penance for him forcing her to do the C-section, he named the daughter the heir to the throne, right? Because he wanted to right that wrong, that women that he became king because he had a weaker claim than the one we saw earlier, where he became king because he was the male heir. That's where. So for all these reasons, he wanted to establish his daughter as queen, right? The hand of the king, Otto Hightower, thought that, and also this took the succession away from his brother Matt Smith, who was a bit violent and rash, and he didn't think he should have the power of being king, right? So then the king remarries and he has two sons, right? So they wanted to go to the son. In fact, Otto Hightower says, listen, everything changed the day the king had a male heir. The only people who didn't know it is him and you, right? And he's right. That's the thing. He really was right, right? So she doesn't want to go to war because she knows how destructive war, and she wants there to be a Targaryen on the throne because there's a prophecy that a secret prophecy that darkness will come. There needs to be a Targaryen on the throne to unite people against it. And he starts talking about he starts threatening us. We are not bucking down now. We are not bending the knee. We're not bucking down. And he might kill her, right? And she realized that he doesn't know the story. She is the only one who knows this prophecy. Her father, the king, told her, and nobody else, right? So that's a real weight on her shoulder, right? So she does not want to go to war. That's what I like about the show. It's a very layered, realistic, right, war. If they go into a civil war, I predict it will end with the male king, but the son being the male. Basically, it's no way that was Stephen and Matilda during the anarchy. Basically, as far as I understand, it just ends up with everybody dying. Basically, a stalemate and the end of the era of dragons. So this guy does Death Door. He wakes up, right? He wakes up, and bloody fly, right? And she fills him in. She was the one who had the better claim to be queen, right? So so he says, "Listen, I just after all the shit went down." He needed to get away to sea, which is why he's been gone so long. He was always driven by like a need for power as well. Like he admits it. That's why he kept trying to get her or her family, her kids on the throne. So they're all planning again. They're talking about there's three places. There's the Vale, what's the name? Winterfell and Storm's Ending, right? Three houses that they think they're all sworn to them. The Vale there, and they're all connected by family. Stark certainly will, but they're not sure about the Vale. So he turns up. He gets out of bed and essentially says, "Yeah, we're going to be on your side because that's what everybody wanted." Even though basically they know that the kids that she had are bastards. And so he has control of the biggest fleet in the kingdom, and then he comes up the plane and says, "Listen, we can just blockade King's Landing, so they can't get through with our fleet, right? We got complete control of it's called the Stepstones now, it's where he came from, right? And then she said, yeah, and we can patrol it with the dragon." And they completely cut them off, right? In the meantime, they need to secure their allies. So the son says, "Send us on Dragonback," right? The three we will go on Dragonback, which is very impressive, rather than sending a raven. So basically that's what they'll do, right? And again, can I just point out how hot these girls are? Who are crazily hot. I don't think they really have white hair like that, but boy, are they insanely hot. And he's like, yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So she meets with her sons and says, look, this is, you're not allowed to get in combat. You're not allowed to fight. You're just there as envoys to deliver a message, right? You're out of any battle. the younger one's got to be stopped. Like, it's not going to work. Like, basically, since the beginning of this episode, I was waiting for it to be killed somehow, right? And this point, I'm like, oh, it's not good. It's not good, right? It's all going to be fine. No, he's going to fucking die, right? So off fly the dragons, and it's super cool. Oh, dragon porn. Dun, 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 dun. Then you get this great scene. Matt Smith just hanging out with his dragon, like, singing to it, right? And the dragon, like, spews like, right? And Matt Smith is just singing this, like, ancient little song to it. And it looks it in its eye. They look each other in the eye. Meanwhile, great effect shot. We're over at Storm Landing, right? So he flies over and he lands. And they're all like, whoa. And then he sees there's a much bigger fucking dragon there. So the other side has 3 dragons. This is one of them. This is the oldest, biggest dragon. And he got it when he was a kid. And he got into a fight. And the other kid lost an eye. We're going to see him in a minute. So he goes in to deliver the message. And you see he's there. He says, listen, I'm here. I said I'm going to marry the daughters here, right? You've got a direct line to the crown. Right, if you side with us, then you're just here to like deliver a message. So yeah, this is the guy who lost an eye. He's a bit psycho. So then it doesn't go well. Storm's Landing is pissed off. They're like, hey, you didn't offer us anything. Which one you're gonna marry? Like, which one of my daughters you can marry? He said, look, I'm already promised to somebody. So no one, I'm afraid. So he goes to leave, and he said, wait a minute, before you go, we got a little thing we need to sort out. You took my eye. I need you to give me one of your eyes. He said, just one, don't need 2 of them. Here, to use the dagger. He's like, I'm not going to do that. So he pulls out his sword ready to defend himself. He's like, not in here, not in bloody here. And so he sends them off, and this kid's going to die, right? I know this for like the last half hour. I'm like, oh, and like, this is just a stress fest for me. The takeoff, it's rainy. Just go quickly. And then as he flies, right? Look at this. He's flying over it, and this huge dragon flies over top. And he's like, buzzes him. Right? And he's like, I've got a crazy person with one eye and an eye patch. Crazy person. And they're like, run away. So he keeps buzzing him. He goes down in a crevasse, and then his dragon has enough. You are a dead boy. But then his dragon has enough, comes in and spurts fire at the bigger dragon. Doesn't really do much, but pisses off the dragon. So now he's flapping and flapping and flapping. He flies above the storm. He said, we should be okay. This dragon is fucked off. Right, he's like, he is fucked off. No, and you got the kid with the one eye go, no, baby, don't do it. No, too much. He just eats this dragon whole, and the rider instantly. Right, so yeah, that's it. They're all trying to avoid taking first blood. Both sides were avoiding actually starting combat, because as long as they haven't started combat, they haven't started combat. Too late. This is where combat starts. They killed the prince. Right, this is where combat starts. He's like, fuck, I fucked up. So yeah, we're at war. So Matt Smith comes in and tells the queen, and she's like, not too pleased. It's on, baby, it's on. End of season 1. Bum bum ba dum bum ba dum bum ba dum bum. So yeah, this has done very, very well. Right, this has done very, very well. This, for me, again, redeemed the problem I had with the first episode with the pro-choice argument, because it ended with a pro-life argument. I am invested in all these characters. It's tragic. I can't wait to see the actual war next year with the dragons fighting each other. Guys, I can't say this enough. I think we are on the crest of a new wave of good entertainment, right? I think good times are basically nearly here. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.